Everyone, welcome to the Tech Podcast series. This is Lakshit Pant, your podcaster, here again with you all. And today we are going to have a podcast with Arite. Arite provides a wide range of solutions in the cyber world. We all know, right, how much cyber threats drives the technical growth is a plus, but parallelly, all the businesses, whether it's a small cap or it's a big venture, security is the biggest problem. It's the biggest concern. So Arite provides a proprietary data, cutting edge technology, and a wide range of solutions. And in order to discuss all these things, all these services, we have Sandeep Peshkar here with us. So, Sandeep, could you please introduce yourself a bit?
Thank you, Lakshit. It's great speaking to you here. So, a quick introduction about myself. I'm working as a Senior Vice President of Operations for Arite. I have almost about 25 plus years of experience in the IT world, predominantly in the cybersecurity space and the VAPT space. So, I have seen a lot of customers getting impacted with various incidents, various ransomware attacks. So, we are actively engaged with our customers in order to prevent attacks, and also in case attack has happened, how do we remediate? So this is what we predominantly do from an Arite perspective. Glad to be speaking to you today.
Yeah. And just to summarize, guys, just for index purpose, we are going to talk about a lot more things like about Arite, about ransomware attacks, and a lot more things are lined up for you. So stay tuned. So my first question is I just wanted this podcast in a storytelling way. So what exactly is a ransomware attack? And there is one more term that is emerging right now, that is how it impacts the companies, whether it's B2B or B2C.
Ransomware, if we just take it in a simple way for any organization, in case there is any loophole that is available for a threat actor or a hacker as we call it, he tries to enter into the systems, take control of the data that we have, encrypt it, and gives it back only after certain activities are done. It could be some ransom payment that has to be done or some negotiation that has to be done. So this is what typically happens. So whenever we leave any loophole available for a threat actor to enter into our systems, then we are at a great risk. And now everything is data, right? From your emails to your office activities to the data that you keep for your production, the data that you keep for all your records. It could be HR records, marketing records, customer records. Everything is data, which becomes extremely invaluable for any organization. So the moment we lose that data, and that data being available on the dark web to our competitors or anyone else who wants to take it, it becomes a very big risk for the organization. So the key thing is, how do we prevent this from happening? What are the controls that we can put in place in order to prevent this from happening? And also, in case, assume it has happened, we have some mistake done, the threat actor has entered into our systems, how do we quickly restore back and come back to normal operations? So that is how,
please.
That's how, those are the key things. So the main key is, how do you identify early in the system? How do you identify what are the potential gaps that you have and try to prevent that? That's the biggest thing that can help any organization save themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Finding the gaps is the biggest thing, because no organization is 100% secure. Data is already, hackers are very, smart nowadays. And, just to summarize all the points that Sandeep has mentioned, it's all about when a hacker tries to bribe yourself for your own data. That is something we call a ransomware. So I just wanted to, know more about this. Like, what are some common strains of ransomware over the past few years? Do you have any example in your mind that that you see as a major big ransomware attacks in your mind?
So couple of attacks you might have heard recently, a couple of banks that got impacted, couple of airlines that got impacted in India from ransomwares. So there are many players who are available in the market, who are professional hackers as we call them. So these people, the core business of them is basically to look for loopholes, attack the systems that are there and get into it. Some of the key players, if you see just from a names perspective, could be Revel, Conti, Logbit, Phobos. These are some of the big players who target large organizations. They target some of the other organizations where it is easily accessible.
Yeah, so definitely. So all these hackers are doing their full-time job is to find those loopholes and ask for some bug and all these things. So what is the root cause of ransomware attacks in India, and how businesses, now we are just shifting it towards a little bit about the business perspective. So how businesses are coping with it, and how they just, making it, trying to be more secure or something like this?
So if we take from an India perspective, generally what happens is traditionally we have been slightly lax from a security perspective. We look at it as a capital investment rather than as a mandatory investment from any organization. Thinking that we have installed antivirus on our systems, we have installed antivirus on our servers, everything. So we are that way safe.
Yeah,
But nobody is really safe in the cyber world.
exactly. Yeah,
And on top of it, there's cost involved into that. So traditionally, if you see small and medium businesses, since they hesitate in spending money on cybersecurity, thinking that I have installed antivirus, so
yeah.
that becomes a big challenge for the organizations when something happens. And again, from an India perspective, if you see, uh, generally the way hackers get into the systems is through phishing or through exploiting of the public facing apps that are available.
Okay.
And in, and the most common thing is the person who is there, either due to a weak password or due to the password being available somewhere, he has stored it on the system or he is available. So the person is able to, the hacker is able to get access to those, or it could be a weak password. So people are the weakest link in the chain from an India perspective. So the hackers get access to this, and then I think the whole story starts from there, where they get one system is enough to breach the whole thing. The weakest link in the chain is enough to bring down the whole organization data.
Yeah, and your statement reminds me of one of the biggest example that happened recently about the Uber thing that happened. The one a 16-year-old boy just attacked, got the access to all the system of Ubers or the data of Uber. So that was something really that was just a mistake of one employee, one intern. That was a mistake. Like he got the MFA extension to all the systems. So that's why. So that could be a really good example. Now, as we talked about, discussed about all these attacks, so how does Elite Cyber Risk Management help the customers?
There are a couple of things that we do as part of this. One is it traditional advisory services, where we get into the organization, look from an holistic perspective. Look, since we have worked with so many customers, we are aware of what are the typical patterns that are there, what are the typical mechanisms or tools that need to be put in place, what are the controls that need to be put in place. So the first thing that we traditionally try to do is do a complete assessment of the organization to understand where are they from a cybersecurity compliance perspective. Are they at least adequately covered, or what are the glaring loopholes that we see from a perspective, which we call it as the risk posture assessment. So based on that, we advise the organization on the immediate actions that need to be done. It could be multiple things. For example, some organizations might have user training as an issue. People are not aware of what sort of passwords to be put, or some
Yeah,
tools need to be installed, or some antivirus needs to be updated. Some software configurations have to be updated. So there could be many things like this which come out as the finding from this. So the first stage is going to be uh, the risk posture assessment that we do. After that, based on the findings and all, we also give out regular threat advisories to the organization as part of this. So, based on what actions are happening in the cyber world, in the risk world, say a particular virus or malware is coming in. So, we just inform our customers to be ready for that with adequate patches and all that. So that is one other step from an advisory perspective. Then also we help them in implementing the roadmap that we have defined. Moving to the second set of services, assume that for whatever reason an attack has happened to our customer, then we help them to recover the data, restore
okay.
back the operations, clean up whatever is the issue. Is say 100 systems have been infected. We clean up, we help the customers in cleaning the whole data, bring the backup up and running, the servers up and running, so that the customer can restart his operations. Third, in case there is certain negotiation required with the threat actor, so we also help our customers in negotiating that, so that we bring down the ransom amount. We try to ensure that as far as possible there is no ransom amount paid out, and also negotiate with the hacker so that we help our customers come back fast and restore the data. Finally, in case there is some data again on the dark web, because all said and done, we cannot be 100% sure that the threat actor has given back all the data.
Yeah.
So, in case there is some data still lying on the dark web, we try to look for it and try to destroy that data. So, these are some of the key things that we help our customers with, in addition to the regular tools that get deployed for tracking and other activities.
Yeah, so before jumping off to the next question, I just have one cross question that I am really curious about. Like, how do you negotiate on the third statement that you had? Do you negotiate with the ransomware attackers? Like, how do you actually what's the process like in the negotiation process when we talk about that?
So when the threat actor comes back to the customer telling that I have certain set of data or files or whatever it is, so since we know what is the pattern of different threat actors, we try to first thing is look for, is it a genuine one? Is that the same threat actor who has taken the data? So that is the first step that happens. Second, after that, we try to establish contact with the threat actor through the customer and also advise our customer how should they respond to a threat actor.
Okay.
And third, once the customer is fine, comfortable, then we also get in discussion with the threat actor in order to ensure that we get back the data that has been taken by the threat actor. So these are the key things that we do from a negotiation perspective.
And maybe that's my perception. Maybe while answering or maybe giving the answering the attacker's question, the answer needs to be very appropriately. That needs to be very exact. What, because when a company got attacked with some ransomware attacks, the psychological minds, their thought process entirely changed. So you need to answer in the perfect manner so that he don't feel that you are overwhelmed by all the situation that has been created. Maybe that is the main cause, I
Absolutely,
guess. Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
also in parallel, what we try to do is we try to see how did this happen through the forensics part. So which email ID or which group of IDs, or was it an admin ID? How did the leak actually happen? What was the root cause of the leak? So we try to identify that and plug in quickly so that there's no further damage that happens to the organization.
So just adding one question to it. So do you have something kind of a documentation that a user can refer or a maybe customer can refer to so that they can just get a better idea of what you are providing and all these things?
Yes, definitely. There's a complete documentation on the advisory services, the offering. How do we do a security threat assessment, a posture assessment? How do we do forensics? How do we assist them in a ransomware perspective? So all the documentation is available, which we
Okay.
can share with our customers.
Yeah, so everyone will get the all the advisory link in the description box, so you can just check out the description box later. So I was walking through the heritage structure, and I saw a couple of things, announcements maybe, like I should must say. So like new services are being introduced, so can you please throw some lights on the new services that you are introducing?
Yeah, so one of the new solutions that we are launching is an Arete retainer kit for small and medium businesses in India. So if we traditionally take the Indian small and medium businesses, we have roughly about 75 million customers here in India. But unfortunately, out of that, only 50,000 customers are covered with some sort of a cyber risk
Oh my god.
insurance.
That's a new number.
So that leaves a very large chunk of our customers exposed in case something happens to them. And given that these organizations typically are not too cash rich or cannot spend too much on having different products, multiple products for cybersecurity, or they are little, you can say, not too tech savvy from a cybersecurity perspective, there are chances that threat actors leverage them in order to get into their systems. They try to identify weak spots or the open spots that are available in order to get into the systems. So the offering that we have launched is basically to help small and medium businesses. We do a complete posture assessment for them to start with, help them install all the latest softwares or antivirus things. So as part of this offering, what we do is we help small and medium businesses undertake a complete risk posture assessment. So as part of this assessment, we do a based on different models that are there, industry models that are there, industry tools that are there, and standards that are there. We try to compare where are they with respect to what is the base minimum required from an industry perspective. What is their score on different parameters? It could be network security, it could be physical security, it could be the configuration of various systems, it could be the data recovery part, data storage part. So across all this, we try to do a complete risk posture assessment for our customers. That is the first. Then based on the gaps that come in, we help them in plugging those gaps, create an entire a roadmap for implementation of these recommendations. So that is one key thing that we do for our customers. Second, a lot of forensics activities are planned for our customers in case there is a breach that happens. We try to identify where did the breach happen from, what was the source of that, and try to plug in. Did any threat actor is it sitting already into your system and just waiting for the right opportune time? We try to identify those. We try to identify from where the leakage happened, which email IDs, which admin IDs, or which servers where the activities happened. So that is something that we try to fix. And we also give a detailed threat report to our customers. That is the second set of activities. Then last is we also implement a lot of CIS controls, the 18 controls that have been mandated by CIS. We also report back to the management on what are the key things that we are seeing from an industry perspective. So it's a manufacturing industry. What sort of
Okay.
attacks have happened globally in manufacturing industry? What have happened in India? And what have happened to their peers? And how are organizations gearing up in order to tackle threat actors or hackers? So these are all the set of activities that we do to enable our customers be safe and secure.
Okay, so just talking about the program structure, like how do you have structured the program to purpose and design for the small and medium-sized businesses for the customers, like for the SMB customers?
So the way we do it is we have the program in three phases. So this is a retainer program for a year. The customers sign up for a year, and
Okay.
it is in three phases. In the first phase, what we do is we do the security posture assessment. We onboard IR wherever it's required. We also look at it from in various standards perspective. It could be NIST standards, it could be ISO 27001 standards, and all that, in order to create the roadmap. So, and also we look at the gaps, recommendations, and create the roadmap. So that is the first phase of the activity that we do. Coming to the second phase of the activity, what we do is we alert our customers on a weekly basis on threat advisory. So here, what are the potential threats that we see coming up in the market? What we have seen with other customers, how have they prevented those attacks from happening? So we send out a weekly threat advisory to our customers. We also notify them on what are the patches coming in, based since we know we get an idea of what are the systems that are there, what are the softwares that are there when we do the posture assessment. So we advise our customers on what are the patches that need to be implemented on priority. Then third is a monthly IR governance, where we talk to the customer on what has been the progress from an implementation perspective vis-a-vis the gaps that were identified and what can be done to expedite that. So that is the second phase. Third, as part of the third phase, we look at it more from an management reporting perspective. It can be to the C-level executives of the organization, where we talk to them on the overall security posture of the industry, the organization, and what are the specific threats that we see coming up for that particular organization, and what can be done to prevent them. In addition to that, we also do threat profiling of the organization. We also do a dark web search just to ensure that that organization's data is not leaked out anywhere. And also, if required, we also do quick forensics to check if there's any threat actor or a hacker sitting in their systems without they knowing it. So these are some of the other things that we do as part of the third phase of activities.
Yeah, so I must say this, like I won't be making a wrong statement if I say like it is something like a one-stop solution for all the cyber threats that you are giving so many things with so in a concise manner. That's a very great thing that you are providing. You are putting everything on the table for the customer so that they can utilize for the medium and small size businesses as well. Now talk, what are I just want curious about now your future plans, like what are your future plans for Heritage, and do you have some special things lined up for the users and for the customer side?
Yes, Arite is growing extremely fast given the threat market that is changing, the threats that we are seeing. So Arite is gearing up in terms of new solutions, new services. It could be in terms of the SOC, XDR, or any other areas that we talk about. So Arite has been consistently looking for new solutions, identifying new threats coming into the market, developing adequate tools and technologies that help us in fixing or stopping these attacks from hitting our customers.
Now, I was wondering about your experience and how do you feel like working in a reputed industry, and how enjoyable do you find working in the entire cybersecurity domain? How enjoying this for you? Like for it's like 24 years journey for you. So how it's like for you? I just wanted to know.
It has been a very wonderful journey, and every day is different. So that is the
Yeah.
biggest learning that we have on this job. So every day is completely different. We don't know what comes in on that particular day. So every day, every threat actor comes with a different approach. We try to identify what happened, how did it happen for our customers. So it's a complete unique experience being in the cybersecurity world. And it also gives us an opportunity to be more and more innovative, because as threat actors evolve, they try to look at more options to break into the systems. And we, from a cybersecurity side, look at how do we prevent such activities. So it's
Yeah.
a cat and mouse game which goes on, but it's a lot of learning, a lot of interesting things on a daily basis.
Definitely, that's a very interesting thing. Being innovative is needs to be the first most agenda of any business. And I just wanted to know, is there any secret ingredient of yours that helped you reach such an incredible milestone as a senior VP? Is there any secret ingredient that you want to share with our folks?
There's no secret ingredient per se, but it's constant learning. You will have to be constantly learning, understanding new things very, very fast, changing, rapidly changing. You can say every day you'll have to learn something new, and you get to learn
Exactly.
something
Yeah.
new.
Totally
That
agree.
is the key thing from a cybersecurity perspective.
Okay, okay. And at last, I'm curious to know, like, what according to you the future is going to be like? Any predictions you want to make from your side, like in which direction we are heading right now?
I think from a future perspective, with the way things are evolving, things moving to the cloud, and with COVID and all, it has made a lot of drastic changes into the way organizations have been working. So
Yeah,
while
totally agree.
traditionally it used to be the systems based out of your office and all, where you could have a lot of protection and all that, but
Yeah,
now
on
with
premise.
everything going to the cloud, from on-prem to the cloud, it is
Yeah,
making huge lot of difference. And on top of it, people working from different locations is making a huge impact to the cybersecurity world. So the key challenge that we are saying is how do we make this very secure for our employees as well as our customers. So a lot of activity actions happening on that front from a cybersecurity perspective.
yeah. Just adding to one follow-up question, I just wanted to ask, like, do you find it challenging while working with the hybrid environments? Like, some data is on-prem, some is on cloud. So, did you find it a bit challenging, or it's totally fine with the everything?
No, it's not a challenge that way. It is absolutely fine, because that's the way hybrid workplace is going to be in the future.
Okay, so thank you for joining in, and it was really insightful talking to you. And I personally learned a lot of things from you. I will definitely try this out and share this with my customer folks. And I hope community folks, you have learned something new. You got to know about the Arite and what are the customer services they are providing. They are doing an incredible job in the in the SMB business. So we can say. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your precious time. It was lovely hosting this podcast with you, and hoping to bring some amazing things for the community together in future.
Thank you, Lakshit. It was great speaking to you.